One choice, one refusal, and a family destroyed. When Kody Brown wouldn't cough up the cash for his daughter Isabel's surgery while clinging to an eye-popping $1.8 million, he rationalized that he could. But now, in this courtroom, under the cold light of a federal judge, the reality is having the latex stripped away. And what the judge is about to decree will leave not only the Brown family, but every single viewer watching utterly speechless. Tell me, if you were that judge, what would your verdict be? The courtroom is quiet, but the anticipation is thunderous. All eyes are fixed on Kody Brown as he sits rigidly at the defense table, his face a tempest of anger, fear, and pride. The fluorescent lights overhead dim ever so slightly, casting a wan light over the wood-grained walls, as if even the edifice is aware that something historic is about to transpire. The clerk's voice rings out as the case is proclaimed, Brown versus Brown. Charges of financial malfeasance, negligence, and withholding of medical treatment. The words linger in the air like smoke, just begging to be noticed. But let's turn back the clock, before the trial even starts. Let's go back to the point when all began to come apart. The point when Isabel Brown's arthritic spine, curved and breaking under the pressure of scoliosis, became the war zone for this dysfunctional family. 2 years ago, Christine's voice shook as she pleaded with Kody to take action. She needs to have surgery. She can't continue like this, Kody. The pain, it's always there. The doctors told us waiting could make it worse. Her hands were gripping medical documents, her eyes desperate. But Cody's jaw was clenched, his arms crossed. We can't afford it now, he retorted, despite the fact that, as Christine would later admit in court, $1.8 million was quietly amassed in accounts within his reach. That choice, that hard-hearted refusal, is what brings us to this place today. The courtroom is not just about cash. It's about deceit, abandonment, and the nagging question, how much does a child's health mean to her father? Christine sits across the aisle, her chin up, but her eyes shine with unshed tears. Isabel is not present. She recuperates from the surgery Christine somehow managed to cover without assistance from Kody, but her absence is more deafening than her presence could ever be. The vacant chair next to Christine is like a witness in and of itself, a reminder of the pain no one in this room can deny. And then there is the judge, stern, uncompromising. A woman who has been practicing family law for decades, having watched parents battle over custody, finances, and control. But as she looks over her glasses at Kody Brown, she sees more than another case. She sees a man whose choices might have irreparably damaged his own daughter. What happens when money becomes more valuable than family? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will shake you. The opening statements begin. Christine's attorney steps forward first. He doesn't waste time. He paints the picture clear and devastating. A father who had the means to provide but refused. A daughter left to suffer, and a mother forced to choose between bankruptcy and her child's health. His words cut through the silence. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is not about whether the surgery was necessary. That much is beyond contention. This case is about why a father, sitting on nearly $2 million, refused to save his own daughter from pain. Christine clenches her hands together in her lap, her knuckles white. Each word is like a knife, cutting open fresh wounds that she had believed had started to heal. But she knows it's the only way to expose the truth to the light. Then Kody takes his turn. His attorney stands, adjusting his tie, attempting to add authority to a disintegrating defense. He maintains Cody's choice wasn't one of neglect, but of financial planning and long-term family stability. The language rings soapy, yet empty. And when Kody himself steps up to the mic to speak, his voice breaks a little, not from grief, but with rage. I love my daughter, but I have to consider the whole family, not one kid. Christine acted behind my back. She did it worse. His gaze flashes momentarily towards Christine, resentment lighting like gasoline on fire between them. The judge's brow wrinkles. She is not impressed. Her pen rat-tat-tats against the desk, sharp and purposeful. Each tat sounds like a ticking time bomb. When the judge's patience thins, you know something unforgettable is about to occur. The first witness is called Janelle Brown. Peaceful, measured, but irrefutably torn. She steps forward and recounts the way the wives discovered the $1.8 million. We believed the accounts were depleted. We believed the money was lost. But then, we received statements, accounts in his name, in business entities, and we understood. He could have covered it. He just didn't. Her voice trembles, but her eyes grow hard. I couldn't believe it. A hurt child and the money was always there. There are gasps in the courtroom. Robyn, who is sitting close to Kody, blots at her eyes with a tissue, shaking her head as if she can't get it. But Christine doesn't stir, her heart racing inside her chest, every muscle tensed as if preparing for contact. Kody bangs his hand on the table, muttering angrily to his lawyer, who attempts to soothe him. But the judge holds up a hand. Mr. Brown, you will comport yourself in my courtroom. The rebuke pierces his fury like ice. For the first time ever, the man who always ruled his family with authority is small, trapped, and helpless. The anxiety mounts, every statement another brick in the wall building around him. The courtroom is a pressure cooker, the tension growing with each secret revealed. And Christine doesn't blink. This is her moment. This is the truth fighting its way into the light. The deeper this trial goes, the more astonishing the secrets are. And believe me, you won't want to miss what's next. As session 1 closes, the judge calls for recess. Everyone exhales, as though they've been holding their breath for hours. Christine stands slowly, her lawyer whispering something in her ear. Kody slumps back in his chair, his face pale, his eyes dark with fury. The battle lines are drawn, but the war has just begun. When the judge returns, one thing is sure: the blistering words she speaks will not just shake Kody to his very foundation, they might also dismantle everything he's ever worked so hard to shield. And that's where we leave session 1, on the brink of truth, with the gavel ready to descend. The gavel comes crashing back down, and the courtroom is engulfed in silence like a tidal wave. But this silence is heavier, thicker, like the quiet before the storm unleashes. The judge bends forward, her eyes still fixed on Kody Brown, her voice lancing. This court won't stand for evasions. Mr. Brown, the days of half-truths are over. And just like that, session 2 erupts into action. This is the time Christine has been waiting for. The time when excuses no longer protect Kody from reality. She can almost feel her own heartbeat as her attorney stands, clutching a sheaf of documents that are incriminating even from the distance across the room. He walks to the bench deliberately, his tone even but charged with a sense of righteous indignation. Your Honor, these are the statements, these are the records, and these figures have a tale Mr. Brown has struggled to suppress. The judge puts on reading glasses and surveys the document, her face growing more serious. Then she glances at Kody again. Is this correct? Kody fidgets in his chair. His jaw clenches. He moistens his lips as if the sentences are suddenly difficult to say. Those accounts, they're business funds. They were not to be used personally. Christine can't keep quiet any longer. She leans in and speaks bitterly to her attorney, and he nods before moving in toward the jury. Business money? When your daughter was weeping every night in agony. Mr. Brown, are you saying this court that $1.8 million was more important to you than her well-being? Gasps are heard once more. Robyn is hanging onto Kody's arm tightly, speaking in her ear frantically, her face a mask of desperation. But the judge holds up her hand to quiet the muttering. What follows will leave you wondering if everything you ever believed about Kody Brown was a lie. The attorney doesn't let up. He projects photos onto a screen, glossy pictures of vacations, new cars, and costly remodeling. Each snapshot is a bullet. These are things purchased in the same time frame that Christine pleaded for assistance. Trips to Arizona, high-end things, and yes, cash spent on Robyn's new home. Christine's lips quiver as the photos flash. She recalls each desperate plea, each heated argument. Each night she lay awake thinking about how to rescue her daughter without the help of the man who was supposed to be her rock. The contrast between her tears and those slick vacation grins is almost intolerable. The camera cuts symbolically to Kody. His face reddens, his fists tightening on the table. His attorney attempts to intercede, objecting, but the judge shushes him. The jury will see these. It's heartbreaking. The jurors lean forward, their faces hardening. You can almost sense them against him. Kody can feel it too. For once, his voice isn't commanding. It defensive. I was protecting the family. You can't possibly know the stress I was under. Christine's lawyer seizes on the statement. The family? Which family, Mr. Brown? Because from my perspective, it seems to me that you safeguarded one home at the expense of all the rest. At the expense of a daughter who couldn't even sleep at night without weeping. The words are suspended in the air, cold and unforgiving. The further the evidence cuts, the more it becomes apparent. This is not merely about money. It's about betrayal. Then comes the biggest surprise. Meri Brown is summoned to the witness stand. The room tenses. She hasn't said much in public since her breakup with Kody, and there's tension between them like static electricity. When she lifts her right hand and promises to tell the truth, Kody's eyes tighten. He knows what's about to happen, but he can't prevent it. Meri's tone is steady but soft, with a hint of bitterness that only years of disillusionment can create. We were all told the same thing, that they didn't have enough money, that we had to buckle under. I believed it. I lived it. Until the truth came out, and I saw the belt was only buckled around Christine and Janelle's family, not Robyn's. The courtroom changes again. Glances flash toward Robyn, whose cheeks flush red as she shakes her head, mouthing that's not true. But Meri doesn't relent. Do you know how it feels to think your daughter's pain doesn't count as much as someone else's comfort? I do. And so does Christine. And so does Yzabel. Tears well up in Christine's eyes. She did not anticipate Meri's offer of support. Not like this. For the first time, the estrangement between the wives appears to fade away, brought together by what Kody's decisions wrought. Kody bangs his fist on the table. Lies. All of this is lies. His voice shatters with rage, ringing in the room. But the judge's gavel crashes once more. Control yourself, Mr. Brown, or I will hold you in contempt. The warning hits hard. For the first time, Kody seems genuinely shaken, not merely angry, terrified. When a man who is built on control begins to lose control, that's when the real story starts. The judge sits back, exuding a deep sigh, and addresses Kody directly. You had the means, you had the opportunity, but the evidence presented indicates a conscious choice not to act. This court requires an explanation more substantial than anger. But Kody has no answer. His lawyer tries to pivot, suggesting Christine exaggerated Yzabel's condition, but the judge's glare shuts him down. I've seen the medical records. Don't insult this court. At this moment, the entire gallery knows Kody's defense is crumbling, and he knows it too. His shoulders slump, his face pale, his bravado slipping through his fingers like sand. Christine senses the gravity of the moment. She aches to scream, to yell, to at last release the decades of seething pain. But she remains calm, because the war is not yet over. The verdict has not been reached, and in the recesses of her mind, she knows Kody will not go quietly. The judge asks for a brief recess, but the air is charged with expectation. Everyone senses something historic is to happen. The Brown family has never been so broken, never so vulnerable, never so on the brink of complete disintegration. And as Kody glowers across the aisle at Christine, his eyes black and smoldering, one thing rings horribly true. He's not done fighting. Not yet. The camera holds on that gaze, the unspoken threat of anarchy to be unleashed. For when Kody Brown is pinned in a corner, he does not give up. He strikes back. And what he does will leave the courtroom in shock. The judge strides back into the courtroom, her robes billowing like a shadow over the floor. And suddenly the whole room seems smaller, more confined, more stifling. Every rustle of paper, every anxious cough, has double the resonance. But today, the glare is not on Christine, nor even on Meri. It's going to land squarely on Kody Brown, and he knows it. His jaw is clenched so tight the veins in his neck bulge like cords. The judge does not pause. Mr. Brown, she says, this court has had before it vast testimony and evidence. But today, I want to hear from you directly. No interruption. No excuses. Explain to this court why you withheld surgery from your daughter. The courtroom is holding its breath. Cameras could just as well be rolling, for this is less a trial and more the payoff shot of a drama the entire world has been waiting to witness. Kody gulps, his fingers clenched around the table so hard they turn white. He leans forward into the microphone. I did what I thought would be best for the family. I didn't feel Christine should do something behind my back. We had bills to pay, things planned. I couldn't jeopardize it all for one choice. I had to consider everyone, not just Yzabel. The words ring hollow. Even before the lawyer for Christine stands up, the atmosphere has changed. The gallery stirs, and the eyes of the jurors grow hard with incredulity. Christine herself suppresses tears, but shakes in her hands. How can he still not get it? She thinks. Next comes Christine's attorney. His tone is smooth, but his words are cutting. So Mr. Brown, when you state that you thought of everybody, tell us, who is everybody? Because the bank records indicate vacations, automobiles, and a new house. But they don't indicate hospital expenses. They don't indicate surgery fees. They don't indicate sympathy. The jury leans forward. The judge remains silent, letting the tension speak. This is the moment where excuses are laid bare, and the truth has nowhere left to hide. Kody stammers. His gaze flails nervously to Robyn, who silently mouths, "Stay calm." But his calm has already begun to fray. His voice becomes defensive, rising, cracking beneath the pressure of his own rhetoric. "You think I don't love my daughter. You think I didn't want her to get better. I carried this family for decades, and the second I make a decision you don't like, suddenly I'm the villain." The courtroom shakes with his outburst. Christine stiffens, her lips pressed tight, while Janelle lowers her gaze, unwilling to meet anyone's eyes. Meri shakes her head slowly, almost in disbelief, but the judge raises her gavel slightly, not striking, just reminding him with that subtle gesture, "You're losing control." Christine's attorney continued, unrelenting, "Mr. Brown, love is not at issue here. Action is. Commitment is. Sacrifice is. And the record reflects you sacrificed nothing, except your daughter's health." There is deafening silence after what he has said. Kody slumps back, sweat beading on his forehead. He appears smaller than he has ever appeared. When the mask slips, you can finally see the man behind, and sometimes, he is not the man you expected. The next witness turns everything around. The doors open and in steps Jezebel herself. She is older now, recovering from the surgery, stronger, but the marks remain, not only on her back, but carved into her eyes. The room gasps in one collective utterance. Even Christine's breath is caught, because she hadn't anticipated her daughter testifying. Jezebel seats herself, her hands trembling ever so slightly, as she tugs at the microphone. Her voice is low to begin with, but distinct. "It hurt, always. Sometimes I couldn't breathe. I couldn't sleep. I pleaded with him to assist. I pleaded, but he refused." The courtroom is silent as stone. Even the judge's face softens for the first time, her eyes narrowing into something like sorrow. Jezebel goes on, crying as tears fall down her face. "Mom figured out a way. She always figures things out. But I'll never forget it. How it felt to know he had the money. But I wasn't worth it." Christine puts a hand over her mouth, silently streaming tears. Meri turns away, her face ashen. Janelle's body shudders as she mashes at her eyes. Even Robyn, normally so controlled, cries over a tip, her makeup smearing. And Kody, his face crumples. Color leaves as his daughter's words cut deeper than any cross-examined lawyer ever could. His lips quiver but nothing passes them. When a child's truth comes into a room, no parent exits the same. The judge swallows hard, visibly affected but still in control. "Thank you, Miss Brown. You are free to leave." Jezebel stands up, and Christine runs to her, hugging her with all her might as the bailiff escorts her out. The hug speaks volume. Defiance, love, resilience. But the harm has been done. Kody slumps, his eyes fixed on the table, his shoulders curled up. He knows the jury witnessed, he knows the judge sensed, and he knows everyone outside of these walls will hear it as well. Christine's attorney lands the day's last punch. "Your Honor, what is it that we need?" The victim herself has testified. She experienced this neglect. She endured it. And now, she has exposed the truth that Mr. Brown does not want to acknowledge. The judge takes a slow breath. Her pen clicks once, twice, against her pad. At last, she speaks. "This court will adjourn until tomorrow morning. But let me be clear, my patience is wearing thin. And Mr. Brown, I urge you to think on what sort of father you want to be remembered as." The gavel falls, and with that, the session is over. Yet no one stands. Not immediately. The gravity of Jezebel's words is suspended, a truth too heavy to be denied. Christine wipes away her tears, squaring her shoulders despite the pain in her chest. Janelle rests a hand on her shoulder, a singular display of solidarity. Meri stands there, face unreadable, caught between past loyalty and current truth. And Robyn, shattered, weeping, leans against Kody, though for the first time, it seems less devotion and more desperation. Kody gazes directly ahead, his eyes blank, his expression chiseled in granite. He blinks not, speaks not. But deep inside, something is shattering. And as the courtroom clears, rumors churn. What tomorrow holds? Will Kody confess the truth at last, or will he take everyone with him? The verdict is coming, and it will be more horrific than anyone can imagine. Because when the gavel drops tomorrow, it won't merely render a verdict. It will render a reckoning. The courthouse the next day is abuzz like a beehive. Journalists throng the steps, cameras pop, and murmurs circulate through the crowd. What will Kody do today? Will the judge finally lose it? Is this the tipping point? The interior of the courtroom buzzes with an electricity, like each and every person present senses the next few hours will determine not only the trial, but the legacy of the entire Brown family. The judge takes her seat, striking the gavel once. Court is back in session. Let us continue. Her voice is calm, but her eyes burn with authority. The jurors settle in, pens ready, their faces sharp with anticipation. Christine sits tall, her lawyer by her side, though her fingers twitch nervously in her lap. On the other side of the aisle, Kody appears exhausted. His eyes reddened, his jaw clenched, yet still struggles to maintain a posture of strength. And then it is said. Christine's attorney clears his throat, his next words cutting through the room like a knife. Your Honor, we'd like to present additional evidence. Documents recently subpoenaed. Evidence of secret transfers and secret assets directly tied to Mr. Brown. The room explodes. Gasps, whispers, even wails of shock. Kody lurches forward in his seat, his face paling. Robyn's hand flies up to her mouth, tears welling immediately. The judge bangs her gavel. Order, order in the court. The babbling subsides, but the anticipation only grows. The lawyer goes on. Those transfers, just under $600,000, were quietly deposited into private accounts, all while Isabel's surgery remained uncertain. We plan to show Mr. Brown intentionally kept the money from his family. Christine's breath catches. Even she hadn't known the full extent. Janelle leans forward, her eyes wide, fury sparking within her. Meri's jaw drops, her face pale, as if she's reliving every lie she once believed. When new secrets emerge, the past doesn't just resurface, it detonates. The judge peers at Kody, her voice low and deadly. Brown, is this true? Kody stutters, his words stumbling over themselves. Those weren't personal. They were investments. Long-term security. I wasn't hiding anything. His voice is rising now, desperate. But the cracks in his armor are now visible. His authority, so unshakable before, is crumbling in real time. Christine's attorney pushes harder. Investments, Mr. Brown? While your child was in urgent need, you could risk hundreds of thousands, but you couldn't spare your child's suffering? The jury looks on, some shaking their heads, others writing furiously. Christine's eyes shut tight, resisting a sob, because each word only tells her what she already knows. Kody valued money over sympathy. The more you dig into betrayal, the more the truth stinks. Then, the unthinkable. Robyn is summoned to the stand. She stands up slowly, her footsteps leaden, her eyes puffy and red. As she is sworn in, Kody's hand flails, as if he wishes to prevent her, but he cannot. Her voice shakes as she starts. I knew there were some of the accounts, not all of them, but I trusted Kody. He said it was for our future, for financial stability. I never asked questions. Perhaps I should have. She hesitates, tears streaming down her face. But I didn't know Christine was in that much trouble. I didn't know Isabel's illness was that serious. I thought it could wait. The room gasps hard. Christine's face contorts in agony, conflicted with anger and despair. Wait, she grunts under her breath, shaking her head as if in shock. Robyn cries louder, burying her face. I'm sorry, she whispers. I should have done more. Kody bangs his fist on the counter, his voice erupting. Stop it, Robyn. Don't say anything else. You don't know what you're saying. The judge's gavel thunders. Mr. Brown. One further outburst, and I will have you taken from this courtroom. The ensuing silence is crushing. Robyn drops her head, shattered. Christine looks at Kody, her face no longer simply furious. It's pity. For the man who once ruled his family like a king, now sits dethroned, flailing at the very ones who used to stand by his side. When the fortress falls, not even the most powerful walls can conceal the truth. The judge isn't done yet. She leans forward, her voice as hard as steel. Mr. Brown, I want you to know something very clearly. This is not just about money. This is about trust. And currently, all the testimonies, all the evidence, demonstrate a man who is not trustworthy. The sentences sting harder than any gavel will. Kody's face distorts, anger and terror fighting for control. He grumbles under his breath, too softly for most to discern, but Christine hears, They're all against me. And that is when the surprise blow comes. The judge declares, this court has decided to bring in a special witness, one who has been silent up to this point, but whose testimony could be decisive. The doors open, and all heads turn. Enter Logan Brown, Kody's older son, tall, calm, but with eyes that blaze with years of disillusionment. The gallery gasps, even Christine is shocked. Logan advances, his tone steady but suffused with contained rage. I was there. I saw. I pleaded with him to change his mind. I said he needed it for Isabel. And he gazed at me and replied, we can't afford it. But I knew. I knew there was money. I knew about the accounts. I knew about the deception. The words hit hard. Christine puts her hand over her mouth. Janelle's eyes are brimming with tears. Even Meri, stone-faced until this moment, allows one tear to slip down her face. And Kody, his mouth hangs open, then closes again. He is speechless, utterly speechless. When your own kids testify against you, the fight is no longer about winning. It's about staying alive. The judge's voice slices through the oppressive silence. This testimony will be entered into record. Tomorrow we will proceed to closing arguments, and then this court will pass its verdict. The gavel comes down. The session is over, but no one gets up immediately. The force of Logan's words hangs in the air, a storm clap that refuses to recede. Christine gazes at Kody for the final time before standing to depart. Her eyes are brimming, but her voice is firm as she murmurs to herself, this ends tomorrow. Kody hunches in his chair, his kingdom destroyed, his family destroyed, his secrets exposed to the world. And as the audience slowly disperses, one question lingers heavy in the air, a question no one dares to answer yet. What will the judge's ruling be? Because when justice arrives, it doesn't lean in and whisper a secret. It thunders. And tomorrow its thunder will shake everything to its roots. The last day breaks thick with tension. Out at the courthouse, the crowd is the biggest ever. Journalists elbow for a spot, microphones flicker, and headlines blare across all the networks. Brown family verdict today. Inside, the courtroom is like a pressure cooker, each breath tight, each heartbeat louder than the clock ticking away. Everyone knows, when that gavel rings today, it will be different. The judge appears, her face unyielding and stern. She doesn't hesitate. Court is now in session. We will hear closing arguments before coming to judgment. Her voice booms like thunder, ringing out into every recess of the room. Christine interlaces her fingers, her body tense but her heart unbroken. Janelle sits forward at her side, her eyes on the bench. Meri remains still, conflicted, her face a mask. And in the aisle opposite, Kody sits back stiffly, arms folded, eyes hard and unforgiving. Robyn holds to his arm, her tears already streaming. Christine's attorney stands up first. His words are plain but devastating. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a case about technicalities of law. It's about a father who had the ability to spare his daughter from suffering, but instead chose to conceal money, live in luxury, and be irresponsible. The testimony is evident, the evidence conclusive. Today this court has the opportunity to render not only justice for Isabel, but accountability for every decision that betrayed this family. The words cut home. Christine breathes shakily, realizing this is the culmination of all her torment. And then it's Kody's lawyer's turn. His voice cracks, the arguments unconvincing. He talks of financial planning and misunderstood priorities, but it sounds empty. The jury doesn't budge. The judge doesn't bat an eye. And when Kody himself rises, attempting to cling to his last shreds of dignity, his words fall flat. I did the best I could. I was trying to protect the family. If that makes me guilty, then so be it. Silence. Thick, overwhelming silence. This is the point when excuses don't count anymore. Just the truth. The judge leans forward, eyes piercing, her voice slicing through the room. Mr. Brown, this court has heard testimony, weighed evidence, and heard directly from those most impacted by your decisions. And the conclusion is clear. You had means, you had opportunity, and yet you voluntarily withheld care for your daughter, while hiding assets and spending extravagantly elsewhere. Gasps echo through the courtroom. Christine's breath hitches, her hands shaking as tears fall from her face. Janelle clutches her shoulder firmly, holding her steady. Meri keeps her eyes closed, one tear falling down her face, and Robyn, crying hard, hides her face in her hands. The judge's voice becomes more piercing. this court holds that your conduct was willful neglect, financial misconduct, and gross failure of parental responsibility. You failed to care for your family. You left them behind. Kody's face contorts. For the first time ever, the man who always dictated the story has no control whatsoever. His lips open, but no sound escapes. He is speechless, powerless, defeated. When justice at last arrives, it does not merely punish, it reveals. The judge bangs the gavel. Thus this court orders restitution, paid to Kody Brown, for costs incurred in Jezebel's operation, plus punitive damages of $1.2 million for willful neglect. In addition, the court suggests an investigation into further hidden assets for possible fraud prosecution. The room bursts apart. Kody makes a gasping noise, her hand at her mouth in shock. Janelle lays a hand over her chest, weeping freely. Meri slumps back, shocked, as if years of weight just came crashing down at once. Robyn cries vocally, grasping at Kody's arm, but he doesn't budge. He sits motionless, white, trembling, his eyes fixed on the judge like his whole world just imploded. Kody's attorney nods resolutely, jaw clenched, as if to say, "Justice finally." The judge's voice becomes softer, but not much. "Mr. Brown, let this be an absolute money is no shield. Accountability cannot be waved aside, and the court will not permit neglect to pass for leadership. This is your reckoning." The last gavel ring echoes through the chamber, like the clang of a door slamming shut on an age. When the gavel comes down, it doesn't conclude a trial. It marks a new beginning. The courtroom is emptied gradually, weighed down by incredulity. Kody goes out first, Jezebel's vacant space beside her, still a hurt but one now justified. Janelle exits next, fierce, protective, unyielding. Meri tarses behind, eyes elsewhere, maybe seeing that the man she used to believe in is never coming back. And then Kody stands up. He moves slowly, stiffly, as if each step was 100 pounds. Robyn has her arms around him, muttering wildly, but he doesn't react. His eyes are empty, dazed, as if the verdict took not only his reputation, but the remaining shreds of his identity. Reporters cluster on the sidewalk, questions yelled, cameras popping. Kody hides her face, dashing to the vehicle, her attorney by her side. Kody, appearing moments later, is pummeled with catcalls and requests for comment. He remains silent. His silence speaks volume. Back in chambers, the judge collects her papers, stopping only to look one final time at the vacant defense table. Her expression is still set, but for a moment her eyes are less than unyielding. Another family shattered, another child betrayed. But justice, if not satisfaction, rendered, and as the credits of this courtroom drama roll through your head, one question is left lingering in the air. Was that verdict sufficient to mend the wound, or will the scars of betrayal forever plague the Brown family? Do you think, did the judge go far enough, or did Kody deserve even tougher punishment? Comment below and let your voice be heard.